Hey, I'm Matt and welcome back to SoiLab. Join me today as we walk through our next 6 bagged soils that we're going to be comparing. Basically, you commented and we listened. So we're going to look at the similarities and differences amongst each of these soils and then talk about how I would amend them at the very end. So which soils did you choose? Well, first you chose the Roots Organic Lush. We're also looking at the Mother Earth Groundswell. We're looking at the Bio365 BioFlower, as well as the Coast of Maine Castine blend raised bed mix, the Keep It Simple Organics water only soil, and finally the Recipe 420 potting soil. Let's jump into our discussion. So again, let's look at key differences and similarities. But before we do that, let's jump into just how we set this up. If you've watched our other videos, you know this already, but basically we fill all these containers with the same volume of soil. Then we pre-germinate lettuce, pre-germinate tomato, get those planted, and keep these all at the exact same moisture level for the duration of the study. Now, what you're looking at right now is just about 7 weeks into our grow out, and that leads me to our first main difference. One thing that you might notice if you've watched our other videos is that these tomatoes look a little bit different. We ran out of seed and the seed that was remaining was expired, so we did switch tomato varieties. We switched from the Early Bird Hybrid to the Cherokee Purple. These have a little more robust growth habit, a lot thicker stems. So if you're noticing that difference in our tomato varieties, good eye, because we did switch over to that Cherokee Purple. Now, what were some of the other similarities now amongst the soils themselves? The first similarity that I can point to is that the pH was in the optimal range for every one of the potting soils that you see below me. And as we're looking at the data, you can see that with this gray bar on the far right. We are right in that optimal range for pH. Now, pH drives nutrient availability, and having that pH be optimal means we should have optimal available nutrition. Now, the other similarity that I would point to next is that all of these soils were a bit suboptimal in micronutrients. And you can see that pretty consistently in each of these, is that we're pretty low in micronutrients, but you'll notice that this Mother Earth Groundswell actually gets right to the bottom end of sufficiency with zinc and copper in particular. But all in all, micronutrients are relatively low across all these bagged soils, and that's been typical across all 30 or so of these that we've looked at. So switching from micronutrients, I'd also point to our sodium. Our sodium levels were at the top of the optimal range or high in all of these, but like before, we didn't see a lot of alarmingly high sodium levels, but sodium was present in slightly elevated levels across all of these potting soils. Now, what about our other macronutrients? Potassium, phosphorus, and sulfur were optimal or above the optimal range in all of these, so none of those will become limiting. And then nitrogen was in excess of the optimal range or high in all of these soils except for one. The one soil that was a little bit suboptimal in nitrogen was our Coast of Maine Castine blend raised bed mix, and that was right at about 8 parts per million. I'll talk about the grow out here in just a second, but you can see that lettuce is still doing exceptionally well. Now, if you're looking to this side, you'll notice we have one set of plants that's struggling just a little bit, and that's the Recipe 420 potting soil. Now, it was great in nitrogen, great in phosphorus and potassium, but we did find that the limiting factor actually turned out to be that excessively low magnesium. And we're seeing picture perfect textbook magnesium deficiency here. As a plant soil scientist, I get excited about this. This is what you would call interveinal chlorosis. So the chlorophyll in between the veins is taking on that yellowish color. And we're also seeing leaf curling, stunting, and some of those older leaves dying off. So we're really just seeing a magnesium deficiency there. The nutrient profile of that soil otherwise was in pretty good shape. A little low calcium as well. So those were some of the similarities and differences from a nutrition standpoint. What were some of the other things that I noticed about each of these soils? When we're looking at this Keep It Simple Organics water only soil, you might notice that these plants are a little more compact, a little smaller. I'm not gonna blame that on the soil, but I might point the finger back at myself. I had a hard time with moisture management on this soil for about the first 10 days. It was drying down just a bit more than the others. But one thing that I'd love for you to note is look at how deep dark green these tomato leaves are and these tomato plants are, and also how consistent the growth is amongst plants. So anything plant health wise that might look a little lacking here, I'll blame on myself instead of that potting soil. It performed really well once I got moisture management dialed in on that. All right, so what would I do, or how would I amend these soils based on the growth that I saw and based on our My Soil test results? Well, for the Lush, the Mother Earth Groundswell, the BioFlower 365, and even the Keep It Simple Organics Water Only, I'm gonna plant into those and let those grow out. The nutrition was there to support a whole first crop. Now, the coast of Maine, Castine Blend Raised Bed Mix was probably my favorite soil in regards to look and feel. It has a finished compost look, it took water exceptionally well, and for the first 4 weeks of this trial, it actually was one of the top performers. All that happened is after about 4 weeks, it ran out of a little bit of nitrogen. And we're starting to see that in the yellow discoloration, but you see the lettuce put on a ton of biomass, and the tomatoes started off pretty well also. This would have just needed a little bit of a nitrogen top dress about week 4. I'd probably go with a 1200 blood meal for in season, or if I want to do them in this preseason, maybe a 1200 feather meal, and this would have been one of the top performers as well. Again, just a little short on nitrogen. Now we jump over to this recipe 420 potting soil, and I've looked at reviews online. A lot of people have had fantastic success with this. You can see in our trial with these species planted, tomato and lettuce, we fell just a little short on that magnesium, and we were a little low on calcium. Our pH was in the optimal range, but I still think just adding a little bit of dolomitic lime, which is going to add some of that calcium as well as some magnesium, doing that ahead of planting would have corrected the likelihood of these deficiencies. pH might have came up a little bit, but likely would stay in that optimal range. Well, I guess all in all, these were all phenomenal soils in their own regard, and some of them just needed a little bit of amending, whether that was just a little bit of nitrogen or a little bit of calcium and magnesium to mask those deficiency symptoms. All great soils. I just want to say thank you to all you for your engagement and for commenting. These are your soils that I'm testing for you, and I want to do more of this. So please comment below what you'd like to see next, like, subscribe, hit the notifications so you know when more reviews and trials are out, and I'll look forward to seeing you again soon back in the lab.